Welcome back to Preparing for the Unexpected. Today we are talking about supply chain resilience with Zera Zheng. Zera, great first and second segment there. I'd like to start with tips, or do you have any advice for business to prepare for these challenges? Things that they could do right away, either small steps or larger initiatives, to increase and really look at their supply chain resilience.
Mm, I would say for the quick wins, and I would recommend it business to consider implementing a robust and risk management mechanism, which means that you have to ensure you have the channels to get this risk insight first. So the most important sometimes in these in times of a crisis is you really need to know first. Then you can decide what actions what kind of responses and toward these crises, right? So actually, if you can get yourself and be aware of these risk or disruptions at the early stage, then you already buy yourself an additional time compared to your competitors. So this will give you a huge advantage. So that's why I would encourage for business who haven't started on resilience yet, think about these risk management things first. You need to find out where you can get this risk insight. And by the way, it's important to make sure the risk insight you get is also a with at least meeting some quality standards, and make sure that it's timely, and also you can that can help you with a decision rather than you just find some uses from the media that won't work.
Mm.
So that's, I would say, the most important. And also to achieve that, you can think about either you can use some technologies that are available in the market. There's a lot of companies actually who can support the companies and providing these risk information, and also efficient and effective way is to encourage your vendors in reporting these disruptions and at the early stage, especially these disruptions and affecting them. It's a kind of upstream in the supply chain. Then that's also give you additional time or at least more time to let you be prepared in case your vendors or your suppliers and being disrupted in their supply. So I think that's an important for the business.
Leadership's role in this. I couldn't help but think when you talked about, start, if you don't have it, start risk
Mm.
management and all the pieces that you mentioned there. Um,
Mm.
what's leadership's role in that?
I would say for the leadership's role, to be honest, in case of disruptions and all the leaders, executive leaders, C-suite, and actually they will immediately jump into these crisis situations, right? So you don't really need to convince them that how important they need to be in their the crisis management team core, right? So actually, from that you can get a feelings and for these senior leaders for these bigger significant disruptions that are affecting hitting the business, definitely that will get their attention. So they can actually naturally become the sponsor or big supporters to your resilience subject. And also, no matter you are working in the supply chain side, focusing on the resilience, or you are a resilience manager, I would suggest that also to using that crisis and also to leverage the awareness across the organizations, and also to use your leverage from your senior leaders' influence to get them a sponsor in the resilience topic, and also to speak on behalf of focus on this resilience. That will be a great help, and when you want to roll out some resilience initiatives across the organization.
And I guess understanding what their expectations are too, because they're going to have expectations. And I've always found that there's a gap that we tend to, as resilience professionals, sometimes, or even other middle managers, assume we know what leadership wants. But we really should approach them and find out what are your expectations and then build from there.
Yeah, that's also an interesting things because when we say the leadership is also about which levels we are talking about. For examples, and based on my experience, and the C levels, and they're very clear about what they aim to achieve. To be honest, they wanted the business focusing on the the making the profit or running smoothly. So any disruptions that will jeopardize these two definitely will get their attention, especially if and that could be give a huge impact on the financial performance or reputation wise. So actually, I think for that level, it's pretty clear. But like you said, when it's moving to the functions head, then because the function heads, they have their own objectives for their performance. So sometimes these objectives not exactly matching or aligned with your resilience objective. That could be the cases. For example, for maybe some department of productions or logistics, they are measured on the cost reduction. However, for the resilience, maybe you need encourage them to invest on the resilience initiatives, so which is not fully aligned with their cost reductions purpose. So from that point of view, actually, you need to use others and to motivate them. For example, if you have the capability to capture in case of a crisis, how much damage, how much losses it may cost to you, and how likelihood it will result in will bring a disruption to your business, then that will give them a more tangible feelings about if they don't invest these penny monies, and then they may facing a huge loss because of that. Then that's also will help them to better understanding and also get on your side to support you in some resilience initiative. And to be honest, this is kind of, I would say, stakeholder and management skills. For that one, so it's also about you need to understand your these function heads, what's most important to them, what are they being measured against, then you can better using that to leverage your conversation, leverage your influence, and also lobby them to support on the resilience initiatives.
Do you see this supply chain resilience really becoming bigger over the next few years, like growing, or do you think this is just a trend and like all trends, they go away?
At least I feel that the next decade, we will probably see this is continue to be the mega trend. The reason behind that is, like we discussed at the beginnings, what's the cost? The resilience gets more attention nowadays because the ideology actually has been changed. So in the past decades, actually we are seeing these globalization, the JIT focus on efficiency. Nowadays is also focusing on the resilience alongside the efficiency. And actually, if there's ideology levels and change or shift, then you can expect it also will easily take a decade to move it to the next one. So that's also why I feel that the resilience is an kind of the mega trend that happening in nowadays and also will continue to influence for the next decade.
There are many of my audience members from around the globe, whether they be listening on Voice America or YouTube. They are resilience professionals and they're interested in becoming more interested in this field because a lot of us,
Mm,
face it, we're focusing on BIAs and creating business continuity plans or ITDR or crisis management. And supply chain is kind of new, really, as a major focus anyway, in
mm.
the overall resilience field. So, what kind of tips or advice do you have for resilience professionals who are interested in this and want to incorporate this into their programs and become a stronger voice, as you just said, leverage their influence?
Yeah, I think no matter as beginners into the resilience field or as adventurers and already work on the business resilience side, I think important is first, you really need to make sure that you have a knowledge framework. So start to think about what the systematic, whether you have a systematic approach to understand the business continuity management and also the risk management. And these will actually form the foundations of a resilience practice. If you already have that, good for you, and then you can start. I will encourage you to also to expand the knowledge and stay by staying curious. I like what Socrates mentions that staying curious is is the beginning of the wisdom. So also I believe that for resilience side, no matter it's a supply chain resilience or business resilience, it's actually the resilience itself and touch the various topics areas. For example, so it covers these compliance and could be also related to the climate changes or geopolitical ones and trade and the supply chains. Actually, if you want to analyze these risks, then also requires the persons to have a profound knowledge and a good understanding about all these different topics. So this is also why I think important. First, you have the framework of your knowledge, then you can actually just continuously chip in the things that you learn from the real world. So that's an I see could be important. And it's the third thing is also always to practice and also to reflect. One of the tips that I always use is actually you need to apply your knowledge to the real world situations. When there's disruptions that suddenly happened, try to do some thinking exercises yourself. Then after that, you can compare your analysis with others and also to identify the blind spots that you may have in the previous assessment or judgment. And then if you continuously can learning through that and also to continue to do the self-reviews, self-reflections after that, that could be will help you to quickly growing into a profession in this area. And the last but most important is be open-minded and also stay objectives, setting aside the personal bias and the value things as they can cloud judgment. And also it's important to acknowledge that there's unknowns and remain adaptable. In this field, then flexibility is just as important as an expertise. So that's I see is an crucial characteristics for resilience profession.
We have a minute and a half left. Do you have a final thought you'd like to share on with supply chain resilience?
Yeah. Actually, because now we only have almost 20 days moving into the 2025, I would recommend it and that everyone's, no matter you already working on the supply chain resilience or you are not, but just interested into the topic, please also starting to spend more time and also to think about the preparations for the resilience. Because if you look at it nowadays, what kind of a risk that we are dealing with and from the business side or even the individual side, actually it's we find it that's also getting more complicated and also especially globally for the countries, if you look at the current landscape, it's a little bit chaotic at the moment. There's you see the disruptions are keeping coming. So given that background, given that volatile business landscape, I would encourage all the business and also the professionals working on resilience and to start to be prepared for the upcoming year 2025. That's definitely will be more volatilities and uncertainty, and the resilience will be a crucial for the year.
And on that note, we've come to the end of our show. Zera, thank you so much for sharing your time and your expertise on supply chain resilience. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you.
And everyone watching and listening, stay prepared, everybody. If you liked that video, thumbs up. If you didn't like that video, thumbs down. But leave me a message and let me know your thoughts. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. And in the meantime, stay prepared, everybody.